Well, welcome back, truth seekers, happiness seekers. I am Nolen-John Zander, and we're still addressing the World Economic Forum and criticizing the World Economic Forum. This is point number 4, is what do they really mean from my perspective, and from the perspective of somebody who doesn't make as much money as they do. So number 4, we're addressing the current social vulnerabilities in the context of a new system for work, skills, and care. Well, that's quite interesting as it deals directly with the human. So official statistics show that despite a growing global economic crisis, workers are continuing to leave or consider leaving their jobs. Very true. They don't have the liberties that we're supposed to have. Notwithstanding high numbers of unfilled jobs and tight labor markets across many of the world's biggest economies, real wages are also declining across many job categories in the midst of cost of living crises. Yes, because freedom is more important than money. Liberty is more important than money, and they don't see it that way. The main issue with unemployment or employment is inflation. Inflation on a regular basis, not during this time because it's super high. Inflation and cost of living is 4% per year, whereas most people do not get a raise every year to meet that in the slightest. So the wages are technically going down where the prices of everything are going up. And they wonder what the problem is? Okay. In parallel, emerging markets are facing pressure of significant unemployment driven by the economic slowdown, leading to heightened social pressure. Heightened social pressure. I don't think it's really social pressure, right? I think there's pressure on the companies because they cannot pay the wages that people desire, nor can they meet the demands of the population, of the worker. Right? You're telling me that I have to get something injected into my body, and it's experimental at best. I have to wear this mask in order to do work here. I have to wear this mask to go to the grocery. I cannot go out and socialize at the bar, at the local watering hole, at the local places that I usually hang out at. I can't go to the library. I can't go to the park to have my children play on the playground equipment. You're telling me that I cannot do these things, and you're touting the reason is some sort of unseen thing called a virus. Because that's, make no mistake, this is where it stems from, right? It's a big wake-up call to the population. Who has the power, and why are you touting it over my head like that? Is it for my safety or for your control? So this moment calls for a new social contract that supports strong investment in education, skills, and healthcare, that fills unmet demand, lays the groundwork for social mobility, and ultimately future-proofs economies. So, a lot of the people in healthcare quit because they know the effects of what was happening to them and the demands that were put on them to enforce throughout other locations as well. Education-wise, well, with the things that they're trying to tout and teach, such as, stuff. The racism teaching in school, right? And they're doing it at a younger age. Plus all the other stuff in the education system, such as, you're a boy, but you can become a girl, and we'll make that happen for you no matter what your parents say. Even though you're confused, you don't even know what you want to be when you grow up, we'll make sure that at least you can change your gender. But you can't get a tattoo, but we'll change your gender. You can't get a piercing, but we'll change your gender, right? To ensure that you cannot breed, because we're going to cut off certain parts of your anatomy so that you cannot reproduce. But you'll be happy. And, well, you won't own anything, and you'll be happy. That's what we're here for. So we have high numbers of unfulfilled jobs in a tight labor markets across many of the world's biggest economies. So the reason for that is people, although they are educated by the system, they still have some free thinking that they exercise. I believe that most people are just silent about it because they don't know how to act and what to do about it. They do have methodologies to move forward and speak their piece, right? But as in Japan, the head of the nail that sticks up usually attracts the hammer. Look at Andrew Tate. For you that know Andrew Tate or have seen the news recently. When people such as Andrew Tate or myself, and I will compare myself to Andrew Tate by the words that I speak and not by his massively more physical dominant, if you may, or if I may. So, he speaks the truth, and considering the number of followers he has, that needs to be silenced. But with the advent of AI, even people like me that have like less than 1,000 followers or subscribers, they're still going to get me too, but not at the level they're going to get Andrew Tate. I mean, for me, they'll probably just shut off the YouTube channel, right? But folks that continue to speak out against the powers that be, to question them, the real question is why you have a problem being questioned and why you're not answering those questions. Just like the United States presidential election between Trump and Joe Biden. If the integrity of the election is questioned, then why do you have a problem with an audit? Right? Because if the election system is flawed, it needs to be fixed. If it's not flawed and somebody's accusing you of being a cheater, then you should be welcoming the audit, lest, of course, you are an actual cheater. Right? The only way and the only reason to rebut being accused of a cheater, if you want to clear your name properly, you'd allow the audit to go through no matter what. And you'd step back and let it happen, third party and all. But that's not what's happened. So when you talk about criticisms based on your own point of view and you don't receive any answers, then their system is flawed because they cannot explain it, right? If you cannot explain it to a 5-year-old, then why are you even doing it? You don't understand it well enough to explain it to a child, right? So when it comes to somebody at such an economic level, such as Klaus Schwab, who basically runs the world-ish, at least is the puppet for the people who run the world, and he's getting a lot of benefit for that, or the people next to him or just underneath him in economic power, and they have all these answers and they have all this outlook because they created the systems. When you ask them questions that are so elementary to them and they don't have an answer for you, I would say that they're hiding something. Or even if I'm asking Klaus Schwab and it's an elementary school question for them, then why don't they direct me to somebody else who can answer that question for me? Because I'm sure they have plenty of people that work for them. But they don't do that. They don't they don't squash these criticisms. They just call you a conspiracy theorist and freaking walk out the door. So, if you're not going to answer my question, then I have to assume or come to the conclusion that you don't want to answer the question because it's detrimental for you to answer that question. It's very detrimental for you to answer that question. So if I'm criticizing you and I say, what's in it for me, or what kind of negative impact is that going to have on the world population, and you just write that off and say, I'm a conspiracy theorist, then why are you not answering the question? It'd be a simple thing for them to answer the question because they have all the answers. They have plenty of people that have done the research, supposedly, or they can afford to do that, right, and do the research properly to find out what the best benefit is for humankind, right? Not for what's in the best economic interest of Klaus Schwab and the people that have already got more money than God. Why do they need more money? Honestly. Because it's not about the money, it's about the control. When you're at that level, what is there to buy? Anyways, that's point number 4. I didn't go through that one quite as well as the other ones. Let's take another look. People are leaving their jobs and they're not coming back. They want to retrain people in different job markets. So they're going to emphasize education and they're going to emphasize they're going to emphasize education, so they say. But the way that they're controlling the education system, many people can see that that's not something that they want to enforce upon their children. I mean, they're already in the Obama administration years with the new methodologies for math. Even the teachers didn't know how to teach that stuff. Right? It's a separation of the family. When your parents or your mother and father cannot help you with your math homework. Right? They cannot help you with your schoolwork. What does that mean? And then the teachers are not taking it up to the school board because if they do, they're going to get fired. The mother and father are not going to take it up with the school board because they don't have the time to go in there because they're working too hard or working too long. They may send a message or an email or something, but they cannot express their feelings. They cannot understand or comprehend what the neighbor is talking about, that they have the same problem, but they don't know it or they don't know how to voice it. And they cannot back up the neighbor who is screaming at the educational system in their area about fixing what they want their children to learn. Not what the government wants their children to learn, what they want their children to learn, based on the fact that I'm the one paying your bills, I'm the one paying your salary, I'm the one paying your taxes. You work for me because you're part of the school system. But apparently the government has control over that, not you. So the government has more control over your children than you do because they own them, but that's another story. Go back and look at the secure party creditor stuff, choosetobesovereign.com. Pardon. So how do we fight, or how do we, I won't say fight. How do we maneuver around or with an economic stupid power? Right? Because you can't say superpower. This is above that level. These people run the world because they hold all the money. They create crises to make more money. They created a worldwide crisis so that they can make money, to the detriment of the population, to the health of the population. Anyways, we'll be moving on to point 5. Maybe I'll put in another one for number 6 to have a wrap up and conclusion. But anyhow, that is point number 4. They created the crisis and now they're complaining about it. But it's still not on their path to the agenda for 2030. How disappointing for them. Anyways, this is Nolen-John _Zander. We'll be signing off and going to point number 5. But I say this and follow this for an idea of the truth. Maybe an idea, I won't say, not a theory, because it's truth. Why is it that these people are doing what they're doing? Because it's not about making more money. It's about the control that they have over the people of the world. I'm not talking about America. I'm in America, right? It's control over the population of the humans on planet Earth. That's what it's about. There's no other reason. If you can come up with another reason, put it in the comments below. You really think that they really give a damn about you? Comment below. Tell me. Because I don't believe it. So, we'll call it there. I'm going to go to on point number 5 in the next video. And please comment below. Prove me wrong. Come up with something else. I don't care if you're a troll or not. We'll battle back and forth and get my ratings up a little bit higher. Sure. If you're YouTube and you cut me off, well, we may have to have a conditional acceptance put out and sent over to you and see what I have to say about that. This is Nolen-John _Zander. Next video.